This is my boy Jay's Gear Chronicle deck. So we can take a look at it.
Alright. First up, for starting Vanguard, we're using Chronodren. Now, Chronodren came in the second Gear Chronicle structure deck. Actually, he's probably the most OP freaking starter for the Gear Chronicles right now, as of right now. I mean, the new one that will be coming out for the Tiger, I don't know if it's called Chrono Tiger Drawn or something, but for right now, it's just him. I love him because I can use him with the Interdimensional Beast Phoenix and bind him and give his grade 3 form out. So he actually helps floodgate the field when you really need him. So I would not use that Time Draco one that a lot of people are still using, just because, I'm sorry guys, it's trash. You don't need a grade 3 searcher anymore. Grade 3 should already have 8 in your deck. You shouldn't need a grade 3 searcher. So I'd suggest him overall than anything else. Alright. Next up are the triggers. As per usual, well, now on this type of build, I use 4 stand triggers. Everyone was using Lucky Pot Draco Kid just because it was a draw trigger and it had the ability you can shove into their Soul Gear 300. Well, as much as I like drawing, I like to stand my units better when I get a chance for that extra swing. And this also does the same thing as Lucky Pot Draco Kid. It goes to 300 and feeds the soul. So overall, this is much a better unit to go with. I wouldn't recommend Lucky Pot anymore unless you really want to go with I want to draw more cards. Of course, standard 4 heals. I'm using the ones from the original structure deck still, just because I like this art better than the one that came in the new one. And of course, you need these for the new G Guardians, which I'm going to show off here after I get to the G Zones. Then next, we are running 8 crits.
Oh, here we go.
8 criticals. Now, for any deck, I never recommend more than 8. No matter what deck you're running, 8 criticals is the limit you should run, because you still want to be able to heal yourself and stand or draw. I'm running 4 of the new crits from the structure, and then I'm running, of course, 4 of the hot thump workers, just because, one, this gives me a draw. I'm allowed to increase Chrono's power and feed the soul for those soul blasts. This card is amazing, and if anyone hasn't noticed, yes, they're all the SPs. So that's it for the triggers. We're going on to grade 1s. Now for the grade 1 lineup, for Perfect Guards, of course. You don't want to go any less than that. I would recommend these ones over anything else because, I'm sorry, the Quintus Wall is okay. I don't recommend it though. That's just too much cards to throw away. And this one, just because it allows you to flip over 1 in the damage zone if you have 1 in the drop zone. Next up for the grade 1s, we got 2 Steam Maiden Mullins. I wouldn't recommend any more than her, just because her effect is, okay. It's not OP, but it does get the job done when you really need it. So I wouldn't run more than 2. I've seen people try to run her at 3 and kind of dead draw her, and she's not very viable at that time. Next, of course, I'm running 4 Steam Breath Dragons. Because this is your stride fodder. Not only does he help you search for a grade 3, that's why I say you don't need that Timepiece Draco Kid. He can give you a grade 3 called Chronojet Dragon. Also, he's also your stride fodder. He gives him +2 to himself when you just send him from the hand to the drop zone to stride. Alright? So this is why you don't need that Timepiece Draco Kid. Don't do it, people. God. And of course, Time Break Dragon. Time Break Dragon is just really good. I recommend him over the other one that comes in the structure deck just because he allows me to time leap. Yeah, he allows me to time leap my units. As much as I like the other one that reverses time from the structure deck, on my opponent, I'd rather time leap my units and overpower and send his stuff to the drop zone instead of putting it back in his deck where he can get it again. So, Time Break Dragon's pretty good. And now for the grade 2s. Now, My grade 2 lineup is a little different. Most people go, what the hell? We're going to use Glimmer Breath Dragon, 2 of them. Now, the only reason I recommend 2 is because of his effect. You have to Soul Blast and flip a card, and it's a Generation Break. So, you really don't want to throw him out there unless you're already gone to a Generation Break. 1. Not only does he put a card at the bottom of the deck, he also becomes an 11k beat stick. So, I'd only run 2 of him. He's actually really good, but running like 3 or 4 kind of floodgates your hand in unnecessary use. For Time Mazer Dragon. Oh, Twin Mazer, sorry. So still early in the morning here, people. Forgive me. But for these guys, just because these are your 12k beat sticks. You just want them for that pressure. No more than that. And then 2 History Maker Dragons. Just because I like him. He's nice, but again, he's a Generation Break. And he does Time Leap, which is nice. And I really run him on more than 2 of him. And then 3 Clock Fencer Dragons. For anyone who knows Grid Chronicles, this is probably the best grade 2 they have out here. All right now, pretty much almost like History Maker Dragon, but on an epic scale. I mean, I'm not going to go over all the effects totally with you guys, but just know, pretty much History Maker Dragon, but on a more epic scale, and he does incredible shit for you. So, do keep that in mind. He will pretty much piss your opponent off to no end if you pretty much play him a lot. So that's the grade 2s. Now for the grade 4s. Not grade 4s. Grade 3s. 3 Chrono Fang Tigers. What I like about him, you can discard any card you want with his Generation Break after you get it. You can pretty much discard a grade 2 and he'll stride. Just because it adds +3 onto it, making it a grade 5. Alright? So he actually works himself up pretty good. He also has the ability where he binds cards, and it just really just OPs over anything almost. So, if you guys didn't realize he was coming up just because of the cases, you should have saw that coming. Of course, I still run Fro Chrono Jet Dragons just because this is my dude. 1, his Generation Break is pretty cool. Your opponent can't use grade 1s. And secondly, if you stride over him, you can return an opponent's card to the bottom of the deck. He's still very valuable, and yes, I would run them alongside these guys. I found a way to do it. That's why my deck is balanced the way it is. Now for the grade 4s. First up, we use the Ragnar Clock Dragons. I only use 2. I used to run 4, but now I use 2 since we can go up to 16 cards in the G-Zone. Just because of how many cards I can get face up. He blocks your opponent from using grade 0s and he gives a plus critical. But the problem is he doesn't block the grade 1s, so Sentinels can still block him. So it's the only reason I only run 2. Because I only going to use him for 1 critical shot to hopefully make my opponent waste that Sentinel. So, it's the only reason he's in here is to make my opponent waste that Sentinel. Next up is our new interdimensional dragon right here, our interdimensional dragon Bind Time Dragon. Now he is pretty unique and he's pretty good. I mean, a lot of people are saying he's not. Actually, he's really good. I've used him in broken situations where he just comes out and he just pretty much hauls. Pretty much it's flip to Soul Blast 1, and then I bind a card, and he gets a plus 1,000 and an extra critical. He's the only reason I run 2 of these guys now. Because he gets that plus 1,000 and he gets that critical. And also, he can also bind one of my opponent's cards if I really wanted to, along with putting one at the bottom of the deck. He's actually really good, if you know how to run him and know when the situation to use him. Next up, 2 Interdimensional Dragons. Fate Rider Dragon. just because he's actually really good. For each freaking card, and he gets a plus 300, I believe. Yeah, plus 3,000 actually. A plus 3,000. Yeah. And by the way, I was wrong. He gets a plus 10k boost, not a plus 1,000. He gets a plus 3k boost for each face-up card in the G zone, so he can get really overpowered now. So Gear Chronicle users, I'd start running him again.